Hi, Anke Herman here from flamencodressmaking.com. Hello and welcome. In this video, I'd like to talk about fabric shopping for flamenco dance costumes. And I'd like to share with you the 3 biggest mistakes I see flamenco dancers make all the time and what you can do to get it right even if you're not an expert on fabrics. So you ready to get started? Let's dive in. So what's so special about flamenco dance costumes? Why are we even talking about this? Why can't you just go to a fabric shop, pick some fabric that you like, and get started? Well, everyone wants their flamenco costume to look beautiful, to look elegant, but really, in essence, it's a sports outfit. And when you go running, you wouldn't wear your little black dress, the one that you wear for a night out. So the material you choose for your flamenco costume needs to have certain qualities to make sure it's actually up for the task. So why are we hesitating? Why is it such a big deal? Well, not really surprising. When we talk about flamenco costumes, we're looking at floor length, flared skirts, and usually quite a few meters of ruffles. So it's not rocket science to know that it takes a fair bit of fabric and a good amount of time to make one of those costumes. I'm always quick to say that sewing a flamenco costume isn't difficult. You don't need sophisticated sewing techniques, nothing fancy, nothing compared to a tailored jacket or a men's shirt or anything like that. But the long seams, and there's just simply a lot of fabric to be worked with. So more fabric and more time means your investment is just way bigger than it would be for any other garment. Just think of a pencil skirt that's like half a meter of fabric, a couple of hours, and you're off and running. So flamenco skirt isn't like that, and it's perfectly normal that you're a bit worried and you really don't want to get it wrong. But the good news is, you're not alone, because I'm here to help. I'm Anke Herman, and if you haven't heard about me before and you're wondering, well, this one doesn't look very Spanish, let me just quickly introduce myself. I am actually German, and 2002, I think it was, I came to Granada in the south of Spain on a holiday for the very first time, and I just fell in love with the place. And to cut a long story short, I decided to leave the corporate job, pack up, move to the south of Spain and set up my own sewing studio. And I did that in early 2004. And since then, I've been busy dressing hundreds and hundreds of flamenco dancers. Now the thing is, and I don't know whether that would be the same where you live, but my clients quite often buy their fabric somewhere, and they call me up and say, well, look, I've got some fabric and I'd love you to make a dress for me. So I actually get to experiment with different types of materials that I may on my own not have the balls to do it. And so over time, I've learned which materials work, which don't, which may give great results for certain things but don't really cut it for others. And I see flamenco dancers set themselves up for frustration over and over again. The first big mistake I keep seeing is having a crystal clear idea of what you're looking for. Well, you might think that's a good thing, isn't it? Why would that be a mistake? The trouble is that chances are you're not going to find the particular material you're looking for, and at the same time you're missing out on lots of other beautiful options that could work just as well or even better. I always remember this one particular client who came to me and said, well, look, I want you to make this high-waist skirt for me, and I want it in a burgundy color, but really not too dark, not too purple, but not really reddish either. You know, just that tone in the middle, and be wonderful if it had a bit of shine to it. And I go, sweetheart, good luck trying to find that one. if you walk into a fabric shop with that particular idea, chances are you walk out frustrated and you run around from one shop to the next, and you're not going to find what you're looking for. And the reason for that is the way our minds work. We are bombarded with so much information from all kinds of directions that our brain really has to filter what it lets in and what it doesn't. And so if you're really focused on one thing, then anything outside of that just gets ignored and you won't even notice. It's a bit like when you try and buy a new car, and you look at all the different models and you think, oh well, I kind of like a Ford Focus, and all of a sudden everywhere you look you see Ford Focus. They haven't come out of nowhere, they were there before, but you just never noticed them because you weren't focused. And another really interesting experiment, that I put the link to the details down below. Really recommend you check it out. To really demonstrate that effect is they asked people to watch a video, and there were players, they were playing ball, they were passing the ball from one to another, and there were 3 players with a white t-shirt and 3 with a black one, and so people were instructed to count the number of passes players in the white with the white shirts would do. And I've actually done that, and it's quite funny because you count and you focus on the white shirts as a 1, 2, 3, and then after that, okay, the person says, well, okay, there were that number of passes. Now, did you see the gorilla? You go, what? I didn't see. And then they went back, and it was actually a person dressed up in this big gorilla suit walking straight through the screen. And they said, well, at least half of the people doing this experiment don't see the gorilla. And then they said, well, if you kind of know that this is there and you kind of expect it, then you probably see the gorilla. And the second time I watched it, I did see it. But then I said, well, did you notice the color of the curtain change? And, well, no, because you're so focused on one thing, and you really, your brain doesn't take in anything else. And that's what happens when you look for the magical burgundy shiny fabric. You don't see all the other options that are there that would be just as well, work just as well or even better. So a better approach is to say, okay, have your parameters. If you're looking for a costume for the soleil you're putting together, you're probably looking for a darker color, something more serious, but leave it at that. Just walk into the shop and say, okay, now and if you kind of don't have even that parameter, even better, more fun, you're going to have more fun still. You walk in and just let the fabric inspire you and see what's there, and try and explore things that you hadn't even thought of, and you're much more likely to actually find something that you really like. Now, mistake number 2 is not buying enough fabric. And you can imagine that I really hate that one. I understand it's really difficult to estimate how much fabric you need. And that's because there's so many factors to consider, and the difference between one extreme, let's say a narrow skirt with a couple of ruffles, and on the other hand a full circle skirt with lots of ruffles, the difference is huge. So we're not talking just like half a meter of difference. That may be the difference between 2 meters on one extreme and 8 meters on the other. So what you want to do is, well, the easiest solution is to have a pattern of exactly what you want to do, and you have precise instructions of how much fabric you need for the skirt and for the ruffles. But if you don't have that, keep in mind that if you don't have a lot of experience, you tend to underestimate the amount of fabric that's needed. So in case of doubt, really get a bit more if you can. And the other option is to really work it backwards, to get, whatever amount sounds kind of reasonable to you. Well, you think, oh, well, that's maybe all you can afford at the moment, and you just get that. And then you work backwards from there, and you adjust your design if you find that it's not enough for what you initially thought. You, instead of, let's say, having a full circle skirt, you say, okay, let's do a 3/4 circle skirt. Or, instead of having 3 large ruffles, have 5 smaller ones that take less fabric. Or you can start mixing in other types of fabric, other colors or other prints, or like, mix in other fabrics to get what you want. So you can, I actually do that quite a lot, because often, as I said before, often clients actually bring fabric, and so they've got 5 meters, so we've got to work with that. And so, we kind of adjust the design or bring in other fabric to get to where we want to go. The third mistake I come across an awful lot is that dancers get the wrong kind of fabric for what they're trying to do. I'm talking about soft, slippery satin or chiffon, and that's supposed to be a jacket that actually needs some body. Or they get some stiff poplin, and then they're disappointed because it doesn't actually drape well and the skirt isn't flowing. So that's what I call trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. It's like trying to straighten curly hair. It's a constant struggle, and just a little bit of wind and you're back to square one. So what you really want to do instead is work with the quality of the fabric. So if you have a slippery satin, think of a blouse, or think of some really soft flowing ruffles. Just work with the fabric and not against it. Now, how are you supposed to know which fabrics to use? Well, you could experiment, or you can learn from my experience. As I said before, I get this question all the time, so I've been thinking for some time what I can do to help you choose. And the first thing that jumped to mind was actually offering you fabric swatches, actual pieces of fabric, so that you can first of all touch the fabric and know and see whether you like it. And then you can actually take that piece of fabric to your local fabric store and get some help. And instead of trying to explain what you're looking for, you say, look, this is the type of fabric I'm looking for. Have you got something similar for me? And the fabric samples by themselves aren't really any good if you don't know which fabric works for which kind of outfit, what lining to use. And so I've put together all that in an ebook for you. Now, in that ebook, you're going to learn what qualities to look for in a material, so you can actually recognize a good one when you see it. There's also a whole section where I explain the 20 most commonly used types of fabric, with photos of costumes I've made using that type of fabric, and tips about what to watch out for, things I really love about it, and a whole lot more. Now, what I'd like you to do next is scroll down the page below this video, and there you'll see in more detail what exactly is covered in the Flamenco Fabric Guide. And you'll also see what else I've included in the package for you. You see, I really want you to have everything you need to get creative and start sewing your own costumes. And I want you to have fun in the process. I want you to be able to walk into the fabric shop with confidence and knowing that your project's going to be a success. And I want you to create that gorgeous costume that you never get tired of wearing. And I want it to be available at a price that is way lower than if you were to just once go fabric shopping and buy the wrong thing. So please scroll down, check it out, and if you feel that this could be helpful to you, at the bottom, towards the bottom of the page, you'll see a fairly big green place your order button. Click that button, and as soon as you've placed your order, you can actually download the PDF file. And naturally, the fabric swatches will be arriving in the mail a little later. But either way, you'll be set. So thanks for watching. That's all for today. Just one quick thing. This material is going to be part of an e-course I'm working on. So I'm not sure how long it's going to be available in that format and at that price. So if you are interested, please don't leave it too long. And when you do make your next or your first or your next flamenco costume, please send me a photo. I love seeing what you do. It makes me feel really proud and happy. And so thanks again for watching, and see you next time. Bye.